Great. So again, welcome and thanks for sharing your time with us today. Um, so just to kind of review what you should be expecting today. Whoop, that was not the right way. Um, you will get an overview today of the Dell Scholarship, including the benefits and the eligibility and the application. You'll also get some information, obviously, from Mohammed, who is our Dell Scholar, who will be answering all of your questions and probably giving you way more information that you anticipated. And we'll do that through first a very short presentation from Mohammed, and then Liz has a few questions that we can start with, and then you should all feel free to pop any questions in the chat, and we'll get to those throughout the presentation. Oh, you know what, Liz? I think I messed this up.
So stop sharing and do it again and just click sound on.
Oh no, I had done it right.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Okay, let's try that again. Okay.
This is the Dell Scholars Program.
And if you thought we were only a scholarship, you're going to be in for a great surprise.
The Dell Scholars Program is all about college completion,
Making sure students earn a bachelor's degree in 6 years or less with as little debt as possible. Our team of advisors and peer ambassadors get to know each student's circumstances
to help them navigate resources on campus and through our program.
and to help them develop a plan to stay on track toward graduation.
Dell scholars graduate with a bachelor's degree at twice the national average compared to their peers. That means they are in really good hands.
We're here to provide support every step of the way, all the way through graduation. That includes
A $20,000 scholarship, up to $5,000 a year to reduce college costs,
a laptop computer to help students stay connected,
textbook credits to help them pay for books and stay on top of their studies, access to scholar services, including free legal and financial guidance, confidential counseling, life and work solutions,
coaching and guidance for degree completion to support academic progress.
And most importantly, a personal support system.
no matter what challenges they may face, academic, financial, emotional.
Dell scholars are not in this alone.
So now you know, the Dell Scholars Program is more than a scholarship.
We're there to support students on their journey to a degree and beyond.
So that gave you a pretty good overview of the Dell Scholars Program. If we could use the chat, and if you could throw in your name in the chat and let us know if you've already started the application or if you finished the application, that would be really helpful. Don't be shy.
This is the Dell Scholars Program.
And if you thought we were
Nope, wrong way. So as it was noted in the presentation, the Dell Scholars Program is way more than simply a scholarship. It really is a support system. And that's something that Mohammed will talk to a little bit about in a few minutes. So what are the benefits of the Dell Scholars Program? As you heard in the video and as you've received information from Let's Get Ready, you know that this is a $20,000 scholarship that you will receive. Along with that, there's also a laptop with a 4-year warranty that comes along with the award. You will have a personal coach who will provide you with some multifaceted support on the academic, financial, and emotional challenges that you may face while you're in college. You'll also have access to some money for some textbook purchases, which is super helpful. And there's also teletherapy services for students that are interested in receiving professional counseling, which is free of charge. And again, as Mohammed will mention a little bit later, you'll have access to the Scholars Resource Network, which can connect students and their families to resources to deal with stress, debt management, and other life circumstances. So there is way more to the Dell Scholarship Program than simply the $20,000 scholarship that they're offering. So how are you eligible for this particular scholarship? So in order to apply, every student must participate in a program-approved college readiness program. So you are here, you are a Let's Get Ready student, and if you have been with us in both 11th grade and 12th grade, you can apply for this particular scholarship. You also have to be on track to graduate from an accredited high school with at least a 2.4 GPA. You need to demonstrate a need for financial assistance. And usually this means if you qualify for free or reduced lunch, you are eligible to apply for this particular scholarship as well. And that is essentially what's noted here with being eligible for a Pell Grant during your first year of college. So as you all are applying, filling out your FAFSA and getting your financial aid award letters back, you'll note that there will be a line item for Pell Grant, and that's how you know if you've been eligible to receive a Pell Grant. And you have to be enrolled at least as a full-time student in an accredited higher education institution immediately following your high school graduation. So you have to be attending college starting fall 2022. So who should apply? Essentially, the ideal candidate is somebody who demonstrates grit, potential, and ambition. So these are all noted for you here. And I think the biggest piece to highlight is that the Dell Scholarship folks are looking for folks who have, more than just really great grades or really great involvement outside of school activities. So they're looking for folks with grit who have overcome personal challenges in their lives related to families, school, or communities. They're looking for students who have the potential, and that means that you are participating in college readiness programs such as Let's Get Ready, and you're really seeking out academic rigor, and you're also ambitious, and that means that you're preparing yourself and planning for your dream of graduating from college with a degree. So there are some very important key application dates that you need to be aware of. So we've already let you all know that on October 21st, the application has opened. The application deadline is in less than 30 days on December 1st, 2021. The Dell scholars will not accept a late application, so you have to ensure that your application is submitted on time. A few weeks after that, so on December 10th, you will know if you have been chosen as a semi-finalist. And then there are additional application materials that you need to submit. And those are due at the end of January. And then you'll find out if you've been awarded the scholarship by March 16th. So it's a little bit of a long process, but as we noted earlier, there are significant advantages to receiving the Dell scholarship.
I am very excited to start this fall, but I am a little nervous because I am moving far from home and I am very close to my family.
I'm most excited about moving out my house and living on campus independently for the first time.
I'm also really nervous about starting the academic portion. It's going to be very different from high school. It's going to be very fast-paced.
I'm just really happy and I'm really excited to see what the future holds.
I will be a first-generation college student. To be able to call myself a Dell Scholar makes me feel like I am not alone. It makes me feel very supported.
As a Dell Scholar, I know that I have the resources and support to complete this journey.
Just knowing that there's someone I can reach out to, and I think the Dell Scholars community will be something I can definitely rely on when I'm in college.
Dell Scholar to me means stepping out, becoming a leader, and actually changing the world. And with Dell Scholar, it's showing me that I can be a leader, take the reins of my own life, and have the support from the Dell Scholar community.
So those were just some students who received the Dell scholarship. Last year, Um, I want to reintroduce Mohammed Mir, who is a former Let's Get Ready student who was the recipient of the Dell scholarship for last year, class of 2021. So I will shoot it over to you, Liz and Mohammed.
Hey guys, again, my name is Mohammed Mir. For those who joined recently, I go to Drew University. I'm a freshman. My major is math with a minor in neuroscience, and I was a Dell Scholar recipient. And I just wanted to show you guys, I have some stuff with me that things that you get if you are a recipient. So along with the laptop and credits and stuff like that, this was unexpected. Um, so I got a mask. Hold on, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I got a mask as well with the logo. I also got this water bottle. It's has a logo as well, and it's keeps your water or your liquid hot or cool. And I also got a backpack. It's a Nike backpack with like a lot of zippers and stuff, and even a pouch inside to put your laptop in. And it was completely unexpected. I had no idea I was getting that as well, so it came to a shock. And I just wanted to let you guys know that they didn't mention that anywhere, but that's it. Supplements with the check credits and the scholarship money and the other resources as well that Dell Scholars offers.
So thank you, Mohammed, for that. I want to know, what was your experience like applying for the Dell program? Was it difficult? Was it time consuming? What motivated you to actually go through and complete it?
So
Oh, Mohammed, I think you put yourself on mute.
sorry about that. So um, I remember when I was going through it, it was not complicated at all. There was like a checklist, and it's like applicant information, who your recommender would be, that information, and stuff like that. And it also showed you a progress bar. You're this amount of percent away from completion. And I also got emails as well because I was sort of late to applying. I forgot to fill out one information, and then I got emails saying, "Hey, this amount of days are left. Make sure to finish this or that." So they really want you to finish the application, and it was really seamless for me. It was nothing hard at all, and I even emailed them one time about a question in particular because there was some difficulty entering my recommender's information, and they were quick to respond, and they were very helpful.
Thank you. Did you think you had a good chance of being selected? Why or why not?
So to me, I thought scholarships are sort of a number game, and to a sense that is true. The more you apply, the better chances you have of winning something. But I think that I had somewhat of a chance at winning because I think I'm a pretty unique student. I'm an immigrant. I came to America when I was 8 from Pakistan. I speak multiple languages, including Urdu, Hindi, Arabic, Spanish, along with English. I took lots of AP courses, and I was just, genuinely interested in what I wanted to learn, and I was very, passionate as I wrote through my application and through my college applications as well. And I think those reasons why set me apart from some other applicants. I really put in time and effort into my application and really thought it through the end.
Thank you. How did you feel when you found out you were selected as a Dell Scholar?
Surprised, really. I had no idea, to be honest. I think I got it. I was at the gym and I checked my email and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And it said, "Congratulations." I was really confused. I didn't know what was going on. So it was, the next day at the school or so. I went to my guidance counselor. It was for some issue, and then I was sitting the chair outside and I could just hear her screaming because she got a phone call from someone at Let's Get Ready, and I just hear her screaming. And then she was like, oh my God, I have to find him. I have to see where he is. And then she was trying to find me. She thought I was online, but I was in person. And then as soon as she walked to the door, she's like, "There you are. Did you hear me screaming? She was talking about you." And she was like, and it was very, a very crazy moment. And she was very happy for me because I was the first person in my school and in my school district to win the Dell scholarship. So she was very happy for me, along with my family as well. And for me, it just came as a shock. Didn't expect it. I forgot about when they were gonna tell everybody if you were selected or not. So it came as a complete shock and surprise for me.
Thank you. What impact do you feel like the Dell Scholars Program has had on you and also just in your college like trajectory so far?
So financially, the scholarship is very helpful. Um, but along, with the besides the check credits, besides the laptop and stuff like that, they have a support system. They call it the SRN, and it's incredibly resourceful. There's plethora of options you have to choose from. Um, they offer legal guidance. They offer um other types of guidance, whether it's relationship or financial and stuff like that, or if it's family stuff as well. And they also allow you to connect with other Dell scholars that might also be at your college as well. And they just also with that they also offer lots of resources with financial aid and stuff like that, and even beyond, after college. And that they're still offering support. They're still offering these guys like, hey, this this place is accepting internships or whatnot. You should apply. And there it's beyond just a scholarship. Again, like the slideshow highlighted, it's a support system. And they want to make sure that their recipients are supported through college and afterwards as well through life.
I see some questions in the chat, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask you from there. In the second round, was there an interview you had to do?
An interview. So no, I didn't have to do an interview. So here's how it went. Here's how the process went for me. I filled out, the regular application. I put in my possible recommender who, if I went on to be a finalist, they would send an email for that to recommend me. And along there was also like essay questions and I had to answer. And once I was notified of being a finalist, my recommender had to fill out their form, but I also had supplemental essays, questions, I mean, and I had to fill that out as well. I don't remember the questions in particular. They probably change every year, but I had to fill out additional information. I didn't have to do an interview with somebody on the phone or through Zoom or whatnot, but I just had to fill out extra information after being notified as a semifinalist.
Another question I see is, are there any tips you have to better our chances of getting selected?
So one thing I would recommend is, even in your college application as well, you don't want to consistently say the same thing. So if you're hardworking, if you're like, really passionate about something, let's say biology or whatnot, and you've done like, research on your own already, and you read lots of books and stuff, you don't really want to talk about biology every single essay question. You might want to talk about something else. You want the person reading it to like know you well. They want to know other things about you besides your interest in biology. Maybe your job, or what's like if you play sports or not. Things about like if you're in a club or something, or if you're a student leader in a club or some other organizations. Or even personal problems. I talked about my personal problems as well in mine. One of my questions, one of the prompts that they given me, and it was a variety of things so that they could get a revolving understanding of who I was as an applicant and as a person as well.
Another question is, To save time and effort, do you think meeting the scholarship eligibility requirements are not enough because only a few people will be selected? Furthermore, would we need something highly special about us, like getting a high SAT score, taking many APs, or winning a competition to be really considered for the winning scholarship?
So I think that everyone should apply. I think everyone should apply. I don't think, just because a few amount of people are selected that, thousands are gonna apply or whatnot, that I'm not gonna have a chance at all. I thought the same thing, every scholarship I thought, there's gonna be hundreds and thousands of kids applying, what chance do I have? But when there's scholarships, when there are scholarships that require you to write an essay or give additional information about you or even have a recommender, those were the type of scholarships that I won because they were, more than a numbers game. They wanted to know more about you, and I feel when I won scholarships like the Dell scholarship, that they really know who I was. That I was such a passionate and ongoing and caring person. I was charismatic. I was, eager to learn. I was pursuing. I did take many APs, yes, but there were people in my high school who took more APs than me. There were people in my high school who had a higher GPA than me, who did more sports than me, who were, leaders in clubs or whatnot, and I wasn't. And I didn't necessarily have a high SAT. I didn't even get the chance to take my SAT multiple times because of COVID and the pandemic. My test got canceled like 3 times my senior year, and I wouldn't say just like one factor. If you have a low SAT or you didn't take too many APs, don't apply. No, no, no. I would apply because it's a collection of you. It's a holistic analysis of who you are, and that includes everything: your APs, your GPA, your extracurriculars, your job, your recommender, and all these types of things. So don't let one factor, discourage you from applying.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, having seen the number of students who received the award in the last year that I've been working with the Dell program, when they say that the GPA minimum is 2.4, that is in fact true. Like, you do not need to come into this particular scholarship pushing a 4.2 GPA on a 5.0 scale, with a bunch of APs and a bunch of this, that, and the other. Like, they really are looking for students who have a desire to go to college, are academically interested in pursuing their degree, but also have had some challenges in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Wanda, for that. So the last two questions I see is the Dell scholarship considered a full ride scholarship, and what was your GPA?
So the Dell, it's not necessarily a full ride. That depends on the additional financial aid you get to be considered a full ride. Because a full ride is something that, I like everything is paid for, your meal plan, your housing, your tuition, all that stuff. This is technically just 20,000, and I want to talk about how the 20,000 is just dispersed. So your first year, if you are a recipient, it's 2,500 your fall semester, 2,500 for your spring semester. Afterwards, you're allowed to request from your for your second year, second, third, and fourth year in college. You're able to request up to 5,000, either in your fall or your spring semester. They don't, limit you on that, but it's a limit of 5,000 for the academic year. And they want you to strategically use your scholarship money because you want to use your federal aid and your the other aid that the university offers, their scholarships and whatnot. Because if you apply external scholarships first, they're gonna decrease the amount that the institution offers or your federal aid offers. So you don't want that to happen. You want to they'll help you with this. They'll tell you how much you should request strategically and all that, but it's not considered a full ride. You could consider it a full ride if if for 4 years, you calculated that you would need to spend 20,000, then technically it is a full ride for you, because if you win, you'll get the 20,000 that you will be paying for, but it's not a full ride scholarship in terms of definition. And my GPA, so when I'll tell you my GPA when I applied, because my GPA obviously increased after I applied. I mean, after my end of my senior year. So in our high school, it was on a 4.0 scale. I believe I had a 3.92 on a 4.0 scale, and on a weighted, it was like 4.4. That's because of the APs and all that, but every high school is different in the time how they weigh it and stuff like that. And as you apply for colleges and stuff, they have their own system that they convert your GPA based on the grades that you get and all that. So don't worry too much about GPA. It's just it's just a number, and then depending on how your high school is orientated, it's different from every other high school, and so just don't take my scenario and say, you know, it's not going to work for me. No, just it will work for you. Everyone is different.
Any other questions for Mohammed? You can feel free to come off mute, or you can pop them in the chat. As those are coming through, there is something that I wanted to note for those of you who haven't started your application. So there's a portion of the application that is going to ask who your college readiness program person is. And so this is not the place, for those of you who are with us for access, this is not the place where you would put your coach's information. This is where you would put in Joe Alvarez, and I'm going to put this information in the chat so everybody has it. So Joe Alvarez, he's currently our senior transition program manager. And this is the name and the email that you should pop in that section of the application where it's asking you for your college readiness person.
I think Sabrina had her hands up for a question.
Hi, yeah. So this is just kind of like a clarification. So I think you mentioned that so the 20K is all throughout 4 years at college, and then you'll have a chance at junior and senior year to apply for 5K. Is that 5K for each year, or is it like just those 2 years combined?
So it's 20,000 dispersed through 4 years, or it's 4 years maximum. If you graduate early, you could do that in 3 years. I'm not sure how that works technically, but for your first year, for every year, you can request a maximum of 5,000. So that's academic year, fall and a spring semester. For your first year, you are limited to 2,500 for your fall semester and 2,500 for your spring semester. After your first academic year, you are able to request more than 2,500 more or less than 2,500 for your fall or your spring semester. They let you choose how much you want to based on, if you won other scholarships or whatnot, they let you do that. But it's 20,000 dispersed through 4 years, which is a maximum of 5,000 every academic year.
Oh, okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
I think Ting hands raised.
Yeah, so I have two questions regarding the scholarship. So since it's like spread out through there, my first question is actually I think it's just one question. So my question is like, what if you only use an amount below 20,000? Like, what would happen to the rest of the money if you don't use it or request for it?
So if you don't need the full 20,000, I believe you won't be able to request the full 20,000 because it's need based. If you don't need 20,000 for your 4 years at college to get your bachelor's, then you wouldn't need to request 20,000. If you needed 15,000, you would request 15,000. They require you to upload your what's it called, your expenses bill. So when you get to college, they'll email you your an expense bill. It'll include, for the semester, your housing, your meal plan, and your tuition for that semester. And they require you to upload that along with, your financial aid package and stuff like that. So they'll know if you will need if you'll need less than 20,000. If you need more than 20,000, they'll help you work it out, and they'll tell you, you might need to apply for this type of loan, and they also offer a lot of support with loans. They tell you what's the best loan, what you should do, and all that. But if you need more than 20,000, they'll help you with getting a loan. If you need less than 20,000, you're not able to request the full 20,000 then, if I believe. But that's what they told me. So
Okay, thank you. So I have a second question that just came back to me. So you say you can request like 2,500 for the fall semester, then the spring semester for the first academic year. So for the requesting process, do you only request once for 5K that entire school year, or you request 2 times separately for each of the semesters?
So you request one, I believe for your first year, you request one time. So I requested the first time, and by the way, it takes about 3 weeks or so for the check to get processed and get mailed to your institution directly. It takes, that amount, and they tell you, plan ahead accordingly to when you request your check, so that way there isn't a problem. Um, but I requested one time, and again, it's my first year, so they automatically split it up 2,500 first year, 2,500 um my 2,500, I'm sorry, 2,500 my fall semester, 2,500 my spring semester, and the 2,500 for my spring is contingent on me still staying still being a full-time student at my university. So if I drop out or something, they'll want to know that, and I assume that I know I will have to, show them my transcript so far after my fall semester, my GPA, and all that to make sure that I'm still in good standing to receive the 2,500 and the 15,000 for the upcoming years.
Oh, okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
No problem.
There's another question in the chat. When I'm looking at the Dell scholarship, I'm not seeing any essay or short answer questions. Does that mean that there aren't any essay or short answer questions in the application?
So when I filled out the first portion, I did have to fill out some short answer or essay questions. I'm not sure if how far you're into the application, but from my end, when I applied, I did have to fill out some short answers. And once I was selected as a semifinalist, I had to fill out supplemental questions as well, along with my recommender filling out his information.
And just as a FYI, this is something that your coaches can support you with. So if you are, get to the point where you are filling out the application and you get stumped on some of these short answer questions and essays, you should definitely feel free to lean on your Let's Get Ready coach to support you through that process. Is a good SAT score necessary for the application?
So again, I wouldn't say a good SAT score is necessary. I wouldn't even say, high GPA or high SAT score or a lot of GPAs will, be like ideal. Like if you have that, good for you, but it's not necessary. If you meet the minimum requirements of, your GPA, being in a college readiness program, then you should apply, because they're not just looking for an SAT score, a GPA score, and saying if this person has this GPA, yes, we want them. They would definitely win something. It's like college applications. They don't just look for a key SAT or GPA score. Like that's like the threshold. If you breach it, you're gonna get accepted. No, it's more than that. They look in through your application. They see what you're right. They see if you put in effort. They see who you are. If you show leadership, show ambition, what you've done to pursue, education on your own, higher education on your own, whether that, reading books, doing research or whatnot. They require, it's a holistic analysis. It's just not one factor that's going to be the determinant one. It's a collection of factors, and that includes, your personal factors, your personal stories that you may have, the challenges that you overcame. It's a collection. Just not. I wouldn't say like a good SAT score is necessary. I would still apply if you meet the minimum requirements.
There's a question in the chat about whether you have to report your SAT score on the application.
So I'm not sure if it's required or not. I don't remember exactly. So I guess that's up to you. If you think your SAT score is gonna hurt you, then if it's gonna hurt your application, then I wouldn't put it. If you think it's gonna benefit you, then I would put it. I don't remember if I did, because again, I don't think I took an SAT when I applied for this. I believe there is an option for you to include your SAT score or not, but it's, a personal factor. If you think it's going to benefit you, then put it. If not, then don't put it. An SAT is really just, an academic evaluation. So if you have, a lot of APs, if you have, if you think your GPA, outweighs your SAT, then or provides more support for your academic rigor, then I would swap that out. But if you think it only helps you, then I would put in. But it's up to you. I can't answer that without knowing who you are and all that type of information.
Someone did ask for your information section. Do we use our personal email or high school email?
So I would put personal email, not high school email. My high school, they didn't allow emails from any other domain that wasn't from our high school, at least for the student email. So I wouldn't be able to receive emails from Dell Scholars. So definitely put your personal email in, so you would get notifications of, like, if you're missing something, they'll tell you, and deadline notifications and all that. And if you get selected as a semi-finalist or recipient, then they'll also tell you by email.
That's probably just a good general tip as you all are filling out your college applications and are filling out, other scholarship applications. If you have a situation like Mohammed did, where your school email is spamming a bunch of things that are, important, you probably want to consider using a personal email instead of your school email. And I see that Tamana noted that she finished the application and she didn't see any essays, at least not in this particular round. Oh, Soledad, that's no bueno. Sorry that happened. Any other questions for Mohammed? Again, you can pop them in the chat or you can come off mute.
Here's an additional tip that I just thought of. I'm not sure if Dell Scholars lets you upload a resume or a CV of some sort. Some college applications when I was applying did have that. And if you're a senior in high school, they're probably, telling you about how to make a resume and all of that, and stuff like that. If your resume includes things that your application already does, it wouldn't be beneficial to just include your resume. You want your resume to include things that might not be in your application. So like questions they might not ask, but you want them to know about. Like if they didn't ask you about like an internship or like research that you done, and you could just and you have that in your resume, you should like upload your resume so like they know that, and it also shows, how professional you are. As your high school student, you already have a resume and stuff like that. It looks professional, but don't include your resume if it already includes information that's already on the application. The applicant reviewer does not want to see repetitive information. Like I said before, you don't want to talk about the same thing in every single, short answer. You want to make it diverse. You want to show them a revolving a perspective of who you are, as a person and as an applicant.
So another question, what do you personally think got you the scholarship? Like that one certain factor, if you wouldn't mind telling us.
Sorry. So when I think there might be two factors. One, my recommender was a teacher that I had for 2 years in terms of courses, but I was able to, I connected with them. I still, talked with them, in the hallways and after school and stuff like that for like a year or so. So I know them for 3 years, and they were, I used them for as a recommender for a lot of other things, and I believe they were, really strong recommendation because I showed them who I was, not outside of being a student in their class. I showed them who I was personally, what I did out of school, and like they understood me, who I was, who I, was outside of school, outside of, a student. They got like a really, great understanding of me, and there was a personal connection that, we established, and it was different from, other, students. There's obviously a student a teacher relationship, but that relationship could be expanded on if you really put the time and effort into it. So like for your recommender, I would always choose someone who really knows, who you are, who you spent a lot of time with, and know you outside of being a student. Another factor that I would say is I talked about for my for my semifinalist questions, I talked about something really upset. I talked about, things that I was like really obsessed with into like the future and stuff. So I was interested in computer science and physics at the time, and I think I just watched this movie, like this sci-fi movie, and I talked about, like the spaceships in the movies, how do they navigate through space? If the space is moving so fast, and how do they determine where to go? How do they avoid, debris in space and stuff like that? And I just, talked about it, and I was open about it. I didn't like think too hard about it. I just wrote, and it came freely to me, and it just sounded silly, if I said that out loud to somebody, they'd be like, why would you write that for an essay? That's just silly of you. But I just wrote it, and I just wrote about how I, really felt, just honest about things that I was interested in and what I was passionate about. And, honesty is like, a big part of the application process, just be who you are, and the writing will come freely afterwards.
Cam asked if there's a requirement where you have to do a particular sport. I think the answer to that is no, but
Yeah, you don't have to do a sport. No, it's not required. I did do sports. I think it helped. It showed, how I was able to balance, sports and, school and, life, all that. But I did not work. I did not have a job. So I want everyone to keep that in mind. There was people who did, sports, school, and they had a job, but I did not have a job. I just did sports in school.
cool. And Alex asked a question in the chat that I did answer, but I did want to highlight it. So the question was, he did LGR, did LGR last year and currently has a transition coach. So does that mean that you're doing LGR this year? The answer to that is yes. So if you were with us 11th grade doing SAT prep, and you're currently with us either through our texting platform, which is what we call Core, or you have a more personalized coach that's working with you. So both of those qualify, have you working with LGR through 12th grade. So the answer to that is yes. So if you're here, that means that yes, you do qualify for being with us for 2 years.
There was a question as well, right above that. I said, what does the second round look like?
Good
So
catch.
yeah, so the um part of the first round that I had to put was like, colleges that I would be applying for, that I would, that I think I would be getting accepted into. And after being notified as a semifinalist, I was asked, about that again. Did my options change? Did I get, a result back from one of the colleges? Did I get accepted in one of the colleges or not? Or did I add another college or did I lose another college? That they ask you, they want to the information, up to date, after you get selected as a semifinalist. And in the second round, there's again a supplemental information. I believe like 3 to 4 prompts. Some of them, were the word count was, very high. Some of them was not. And side note, if the word count is really high, you don't have to write to meet the word count. And the word count is really low, like you don't have to like try to meet the word count. You just want to be able to express what you want to say within that word count. Whether it is up to it, like you're a few words away from the word count, or you're like 100 words away. It doesn't matter. You just want to be able to express what you want to say within that word count.
Should you provide weighted or unweighted GPA on the application?
So I think I don't know if there was an option to put unweighted and weighted. I
think
put,
there is.
yeah. So I always put unweighted, and I say it's on a 4.0 scale because, weighted, it could be a little different depending on the high school, but I put unweighted, and if there was an option, I also put my weighted as well.
Yeah, I would encourage, if you have the option to put both, I would encourage you to put both on the application. So Mohammed and I are here for another 8 minutes. If you have any final questions, you can feel free to stay on and have that time with Mohammed to answer those questions. Otherwise, you should create some time to work on your scholarship application. And if you need any support while you're going through the process, you should absolutely feel free to reach out to your coach who can support you. And if you have greater questions that you're having some challenges with, you can certainly feel free to reach out to Elizabeth or myself, and we'll put our emails in the chat so you have those as well. And Joe Alvarez is also somebody that you could reach out to should you have any questions. And that's the email that I popped in earlier in the chat, and that's the email that goes in your application. So thank you all for joining us today, and we'll stay on for a few more minutes to answer any last questions that you all have.
Thank you. I also put my email in the chat as well too.
I believe there's a question, does it matter what your college major is? I want to get into the theater field and I wanted the scholarship to be connected somehow. So no, it doesn't matter what your major is. So if you think you put like biology or like math or like, oh, these are like, STEM intensive courses, I'll definitely get paid because they want someone who's like into like STEM or stuff. No, it doesn't matter what your major is. Your major's gonna change like a bunch of times, even when you're in high school and in college. It's not definite. Your mind will change in the future. It might not, but I would encourage to put whatever major you're thinking at the moment that you're most interested in, and possibly write about it if you have the chance to explain your interest in theater, why you love it so much and how that connects to you. You can talk about that and how the scholarship could be connected to theater directly. There isn't necessarily an exact way to connect that. Possibly if you're selected as a recipient, you're able to view other scholars in your school, your state, your school district, and your college as well. So possibly the college you applied to, there might also be another Dell scholar who select their major as, theater, and you could, get in touch with them, and, that's the only way I believe you could connect with a major in particular, but no, there isn't really a direct way to connect a major to the scholarship.
Hi, I had a question I wanted to ask. Sorry if I interrupted you. It sounded like you were going to
Sorry,
talk.
no, I'm done, guys.
I'm so sorry, but I don't know if you'll know the answer. So if you don't, it's totally fine. But I was just like wondering this in the back of my head. Like, let's say like I put a college down while I'm filling out the scholarship and I like submit it, and then later on I get accepted to a school, but and I want to go there, but I didn't put that college on the scholarship. Does that mean like if I go to that school, I can't use that scholarship money for that school, or would the money only be available for the colleges that I put on the application? I don't
So,
know if it makes my question doesn't make sense. I'm
no,
sorry.
I understand your question. So, the final college, the college that you're going to, and that you put into Dell Scholars, where they will email that. Sorry, not email, mail that check to. You will select that after you are notified as a recipient. So they just want to know, like, the possibilities. These are the colleges that you are applying to. You've been accepted to these, and these are you might add later or not. So you're able to add and remove colleges. Through the first time you apply, the second stage, and after being notified as a recipient, you're able to add or remove colleges, and then finally select the college that you're going to, where they will, be set in stone. And you're able, I believe you're able to change that. So if you transfer, I'm not, don't quote me on this, but if you transfer to another college, I believe you're able to change the college that you go to and have the check mailed to that college. But you have to message Dell Scholar support for that.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
Mohammed, somebody asked if there should be a common theme to your application.
So that's a good question. Theme. So if there was a theme, the theme would be you, the person who you are. That's what should every application be about. When the person reads it or views it, obviously if they view, like the statistical side, the GPA, the courses and all that, they could see the academic rigor. They could see if you're challenging yourself or whatnot. But there's also obviously a personal side, and that comes with the, essays and stuff like that. And the theme should be just who you are. You don't want to be something that you're not. If you're like trying to be somebody, if you're trying to sound smarter, if you're trying to use, bigger words that you wouldn't really use, or you're not sure how to use, you just want to be yourself, because that way you're able to write freely. You're able to be proud of the work that you put. You don't want to like put something and then later on think, oh, if I was myself, I probably would have been accepted or not. You just want to be your true self. That's what the theme really is, just being yourself.
And Aria wants to know if there are any other Dell scholarship recipients at your school. And if so, are you all friends? Do you all hang out?
Unfortunately, there are no other Dell scholars in my university. So it was, I looked it up before, coming here, and I saw there was none, and it was a little upsetting, but I don't doubt that I would be friends with somebody if they were, because we would have common ground. We'd be able to it's something that we would be able to have a conversation about, and like friends in high school. I'm sorry, college. You'll obviously make friends. It's just don't think like I'm only gonna be friends with these people, or I'm not gonna have friends at all. You have 4 years. You have time to explore and all that, but if I was, if there was other Dell scholars in here, I would obviously try to like get to know them and all that. And if so, try to be friends with them. But unfortunately, in my situation, there are no other Dell Scholar recipients besides me at Drew University.
There's a question here about the acceptance rate for the scholarship. I don't have that information offhand. I don't know, Mohammed, if that's something that you know.
I they do not tell me that information, but if you search up Dell Scholars and then you go to like images or whatnot, you can find like their 2019 Dell Scholars. They said, I believe, 500 students, scholars joined. I don't know if that's more or less now.
From an LGR perspective, we've had anywhere between 150 to 370 students apply, and then anywhere between 4 to about a dozen, maybe a little bit more than that win. So it really does vary every year, but that's kind of, what it looks like from the LGR perspective. So we are at time. Mohammed has been incredibly helpful and gracious for spending his time with us this past hour and answering all the questions and all of the other questions that I wasn't even anticipating. So thank you, Mohammed, for sharing your time with us and providing some really great information for students. So the last thing for you all to do is ensure that you have your application in by the deadline, which is December 1st. If you need some support, please reach out to everybody that you need to get your questions answered. So your coach, Liz, myself, Joe, we are here to support and help you throughout this process. So you should definitely feel free to use us as resources as you need to. And again, a big thank you again for Mohammed, and thank you, Liz, for being here tonight.
And thank you, Wanda, for holding it down the whole time.
No problem. Have a good night, everyone.
Right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Have a good night.
You have a good